Quiet on the set. This time, last time I started the show, and I don't know what it picks. It shows Rich Rosen looking around like this at the ceiling. So we got to set it up. Mind you, I don't mind that kind of stuff. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here. I did it myself. I made it stupid. Okay, but that's not so strange. Recruiting Animal here on the first show of 2024. It's January 3rd, 2024. I thought about inviting Amy because she was the first guest last year, but I'll invite her soon. I'll talk to her to come in January. We've got Tommy Palermo Rhodes, Tommy Pistachio. That's his mafia name, okay? Tommy Pistachio. Donna Terrell, okay? Donna. Okay. And yours truly. Richie Rich isn't here, but okay, I've got an ad for Rich and Michael G. Cox because of the contest. Should I do the ad for them now or wait till he shows up so I can curry favor with him?
You love him so much. It's such a bromance.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Rich Rosen, he wants to be like number one on the Forbes best recruiter in America. And so we want you to go and vote for him. Go to bigbiller.ca and register. They'll send you an email and you can go vote for him. Okay. And here's why you should vote for Rich. Okay. The guy's making lots of money, and yet he comes here almost every week and tells you what he does. Okay, so for free. Okay, now that's enough for me to want to vote for somebody. Michael G. Cox doesn't come anymore, but he's come many times. He's shared tons of information. He's a little more low key, very smart. I like the stuff he tells us, even if I don't follow it myself. His company, you have to vote by the company. Cornerstonesearch.com is Rich, and ZagWorks is Michael G. Cox. Just say ZAG and you'll find it. Okay. I hate to make things complicated. Yeah. That's we were just talking about weird names. Okay. He won't say his kids have weird names, but we were just talking about, that's what happens. You pick a company name like ZagWorks. Your name is Michael G. Cox. It's as simple as can be. And you pick a company name like ZagWorks, WORX. What's the point of that? Okay. Makes it difficult for everybody. Anyway, I have to delete that part of the show. It stinks. Okay, I'll make a separate ad for him. Okay. Here's a question I have. When I was in high school, this is a bit, you'll never hear about this on any other show. I guarantee it. Okay. When I was in high school one day, one of our teachers was walking up and down there, and the girls were passing notes and whispering. They said, she has a hickey. Now, I think that might have been the first time I ever heard the term hickey, okay? But it got me I was looking at some people posted stuff from my high school online the other day, and it reminded me, and I was thinking, what if you go to an interview and you've got a hickey, okay? Even if you're on Zoom, and for a woman, she could cover it up with some kind of foundation makeup. But a guy, what's he going to do? Anybody got this is a real life issue. Don't tell me it isn't, okay?
It's not an issue because anybody who's got a hickey isn't going to be interviewing for a job that's of relevance, in my opinion. But if they are, why can't a man use makeup? I use makeup.
Do you?
Yeah, like when I was younger, if I had really bad zits, I would use cover up or whatnot.
Oh, okay.
And if you're on a screen, no one's going to be able to tell. Every single actor wears makeup, and you can't tell.
Okay.
So if you're on a screen right now, I could put makeup on, and you wouldn't be able to tell.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but
I don't mean to rain in the parade, but that's an easy one, man.
A hickey, it doesn't mean you're a teenager. Okay.
Or if it's cold out, wear a turtleneck.
Okay. Donna, do you have some input?
I got nothing.
What would you tell your son? Okay.
If he came home with a hickey?
Not if he came home. He came home and he was going out to an interview, okay?
I'd be like, you idiot. And then I'd cover it up.
Okay. You know what? Some of these girls like to mark you, okay? It doesn't just mean he's in control of what happened. Maybe somebody likes him or wants to play a little joke on him, right? So he goes home and his mother's going to scold him, okay? But that might be even more complicated. See, that could be an interesting introduction to a movie. Okay, so was that a good start to the year, the hickey question, or do you think it's?
I think you can do better.
Yeah.
I think you can do better.
Well, there's another one. This guy, I
Okay.
saw this is the first time. This guy a recruiter asked for prayers because he wants you to pray for his candidate because he's afraid he lost him in one of the recent earthquakes.
Oh,
Is that odd? Have you ever heard of that? Is that a first?
No, people
I
ask
don't-
for prayers all the time.
For their
So-
candidate? They might get lost in an earthquake?
I
I
mean,
mean-
that's extreme, but wouldn't
Yeah.
I would think that candidate needs it. That's
Okay.
scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
Prayers don't work.
it's-
There's been some studies. They have no effect on anything. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like aside from the fact that I agree with you, I don't think prayer works. That it's something that people cling on to, and I think it's a good thing if they think, hey, give good thoughts, give.
Yeah,
prayers,
we
whatever
used
it
to
is,
pray on the
sky.
show. We used to have prayers at the beginning of the show. We would ask people when we were just radio, ask people to give their what they need, and we sent out healing energy to. At the beginning, we would hum. We would. We did. I did the hands, but you couldn't see me. Maureen was here. It was a long time ago.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, yeah, here's something else. I know I'm sort of having a meandering way, but I was also listening to, the song Wedding Bell Blues?
I don't think so.
Please marry me, Bill. I got the Wedding Bell Blues. No?
I don't know that one.
It was a big hit for Fifth
In the
Dimension. But
40s?
I was listening to Laura Nero's version, her solo version. She wrote the song, much more moving, right? About a girl who's telling a guy that she loves him and please marry her, right? And it made me think of a candidate. If you're actually, even if you're telling some guy to marry you and you're begging him, that's not a good sign for the future. And that's true for a candidate as well. If you have to persuade someone to take a job, that's not a good sign for the future. Does anyone agree with me?
Yeah. You're saying if you as the recruiter are trying to persuade the candidate to take it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's bad.
Persuade. Explain to me what you mean by persuade, right? Like, so I'll sell a candidate on the opportunity, but persuade has somewhat
Tommy,
of a.
I'm not sure this is for me. Okay.
Well, that's not very much to go on, but you shouldn't be twisting someone's arm because
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
not,
that's a very
not a
good
good
point.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well,
one
this is
thing to help them
Uh-huh.
see why it might be good for them, but when it's not a right fit, why are you going to put a square peg in a round hole?
Mhm.
You know,
You don't
find the
beat
right
them
fit
up
for them.
to take the job. Yeah, you don't beat
Okay,
people up
well,
to take the job.
you know what? My first boss in recruiting, he said, "Look, I know better than the candidate what's going to be good for him."
That's old management recruiters training, man. All they cared about was cash is king. Get the guy in the door.
No, but
get
he
him
really
hired.
believed it. He believed it that after knowing so many jobs and having so much experience with putting people in jobs, he believed he knew what was good for the candidate more than the candidate did. That's not unreasonable, do you think?
I think there's a difference in overcoming objections to close a sale or close a deal or get someone in a position, which is necessary and good and helpful. And then when you're just trying to get the dollar and it's not for any good reason, it's not going to help anybody. Now, if maybe that guy was amazing.
You did not
and
answer
really
the
knew
question,
better.
Donna.
I
You
did
did
it.
not
Let
answer
Let her
the
finish.
question.
She was finishing.
I
She was
answered
finishing.
your question. You know it. You just don't like the answer. When you don't like the answer, you tell us we don't answer.
I'll tell you why you didn't answer it. The question I said, if it does, do you think that you, as a recruiter, after you've placed a few hundred people in the same kind of positions, that you can actually tell what's a good fit and what isn't? But the candidate gets cold feet because she's only made a few moves in her whole career. You've had 100 times more exposure to that situation. Don't you think that maybe you know better than her? And you could say, listen, Betty, I've been through this many times with many candidates, and I know you're going to be happy here. Trust me on this.
Sometimes you probably know better. Should you still be twisting someone's arm when they really don't want to make the move? I don't think so. And you're not going to know for sure that you knew better till it happened. And then you can see.
You'd really have to justify to me how you know how you know it's better, right? You could tell me that you know it's better. You've been doing this for 25 years or whatever, but tell me specifically why you think this candidate doesn't know what's good for him and why you think you know better than them. You'd really have to justify the reasons why for me to agree
I
with
don't
that.
have a good example at hand, but the more I talk, I started out raising this issue thinking, no, you shouldn't tell someone what to make a move. Now I'm convincing myself of the opposite opinion. And
I'll give you an example, Adam. I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
All right. So recently we had a candidate and she wanted to join us. And again, this is a little bit different because it's internal. She wanted to join us. And I don't know who else had her ear, but she wasn't making the move. And it took additional conversations. And I really did feel like in this case, hearing what was making her unhappy where she was and knowing what she's coming into, this is a really good move for her. So did I emphasize that a lot? Yeah. And did I try more than once? Yeah. And I don't think I twisted an arm, but I sweetened the pot. And
well, you got her more money. That you told us about that one. You got her more money. Okay, that changed the circumstances. Okay,
yeah,
it wasn't
it does.
exactly the same offer.
It does, and but that's what it took. I mean, for her to have that comfort level to make that move, it.
Okay, so it's a little different.
It
did this, but you told her to trust you. This is good for you, and I'll try to get you a little more money. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I will keep trying, but I don't know. I'm
going to interrupt you. Okay, I want to get to this guy, Ian Koniak. He's a sales. Happy New Year, David M Marr. Okay, he's a sales consultant and a big biller himself when he was doing just sales. He says convincing someone to do something not in her best interests, that's not sales. Okay, and we're not saying that. Okay, but he says pressuring someone to do something, to make a decision according to your timeline, that's not sales. But there's lots of recruiters, we've talked about it here before. They give you an offer, they give you 24 hours, maybe 72 hours to make up your mind. All recruiters are going to pressure candidates to make up their mind according to a certain timeline. Am I right or wrong about that?
You have to.
Okay, so that's legitimate sales. Pressuring someone to make a decision.
I think the word that people would object to is pressuring. But encouraging. I was saying,
Donna, you got to make up your mind by Saturday, or I'm going to pull the job away. I've got other candidates here. Okay.
Right. I was just saying to my boss, we were talking about closing sales. It was relevant, and one of the things I talked about was always keeping the ball in your court, because someone had proposed a closing that was really putting the ball in the other person's court, and I'm like, no, you hold the ball. Like, you always hold the ball. So I think it's that kind of thing. So, you want to control the timeline. You want to control the pace. The more you can control that, the better. Time kills all deals, blah, 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 all that. So yeah, the idea that you're pressuring, I think that's what makes it sound bad. But
yeah, you just don't like the word. Tom, do you pressure people to accept the timeline? Your timeline, not theirs?
Yeah. So I guess, this goes back to close early, close often, right? Like, you should be constantly pre-closing the offer. So when the offer comes, there shouldn't be any, waiting around to accept it. You've already told me that if everything is in line and you like what after every interview, yes, if everything is the same and they offer me $75,000 in a company car and stock, I will resign tomorrow and start in 2 weeks. If you're closing them every single time after every interview, there shouldn't be a timeline for them to accept after that.
Yeah.
Okay, but the candidates change. Like this one guy, a recruiter, said the candidate said, "This is what I require." The offer came at that salary, and then she said, "No, I'm not going to accept it. I want what I'm worth."
When I have a job that pays more than the one we close you on, I'll call you. But unfortunately, this job isn't for you. Have a nice day. You got to stand strong in that. I know exactly which one you're talking about. It was an anonymous one. And if she did her job and pre-closed after every interview, and then you get that at the end, they can go fuck themselves. Excuse my French. Seriously, I mean, you don't get to come at the very end and go, you know what? I think they like me more. I want more money. No. We've been talking about this for the last 3 weeks. You said if we got you $85,000, you were ready to. You've told me this is a perfect job in every way, shape, or form, and now all of a sudden you want more money because you think you like you more. No, bye.
Okay, so you're saying that the only reason that happens is because you didn't do a lot of pre-closing all the way through.
Yeah, people change their mind.
The only reason that happens with a good candidate, it lets you know what kind of candidate that is. So now you're determining who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. It'd be the same thing internally. If someone all of a sudden pulled that and had said something else the whole way through, I would be telling the hiring manager, if you want to honor what they're saying, go for it. But this is who you're hiring. Like, this is who you're, think about that.
The first thing I said to him, the thing was, you have to ask the candidate, tell me why this job is better than the one you have now. And it can't be money. Right. So that's where you stick them in the corner. Like, she's asking for 4 months. Wait a second. Forget money for a second. Tell me why this job is better than one you have now. And if they can't give you answers besides money, that deal's dead. They're going to accept a counteroffer.
Yep.
They can't give you answers besides money. When do you use that question? When do you use it? Just then?
It just depends on the situation. If I'm pre-closing them and they're telling me, man, this is such a great opportunity, I won't have to commute, I get to work, then I don't have to ask that question. I know that. But if for some reason, early on, if I'm recruiting a stone cold candidate and we're talking and he's like, yeah, I'd be interested in talking, and he does an interview. Maybe after the first interview, I'll be like, okay, how did it go? Great. Look, I know I called you. I know you weren't looking, but let me ask you a question. What will motivate you to make a job change? Mm-hmm. And then he may say, well, this, that. Well, tell me why this job is better than the one you have now. And I won't say the money thing. I will say, just tell me why this job is better than based on what you know so far. Tell me why this job is better than the one you have now.
That's after he's been out for an interview. Is that
for the first, because usually mine are a phone interview or a Zoom interview. If that goes well, they'll invite him in, and then they may have to do one more after that, depending on the level. But
so how do they answer that question usually? Do they say, I didn't say it was better?
They'll give me answers, right? Or they'll say stuff like, that's a broad answer there, Animal. So he'll say like, well, the commute's better, it's a better company, there's more room for advancement, or
they'll say, that's a really good question, because they haven't thought about it.
They have to think about it, because you called me, I wasn't looking, so let me think about that. Mm-hmm. That's why I always say I don't like working with candidates who are looking. I want to get recruited candidates so I can ask those questions and not have to worry about the other, like, well, I have 17 other offers and 4 other recruiters called me, right? I want to be working with a guy as their agent, right? And be able to say, okay, tell me why XYZ Corporation's opportunity is better than the one you have now. And I know that I called you, and I know you weren't looking, but tell me, what would motivate you to make a change?
Isn't that a bit presumptive by telling them, where do you come this to making the assumption that it's better than what I have now? You have to ask. A more fair question might be, is it better than what you've got now? Just simply, is it? Not tell me why it is. That assumes that it is.
I assume it is. In my opinion, it is. It is a better company. You're working for a shit company. So I want you to tell me why my opportunity is better than yours. That's me. That's my arrogance.
Is David M Marr trying to communicate from the other world? Did he say something? Am I wrong? No,
I did not say anything, but I would agree with Tom that you always be closing. And I use when I do selling or trying to get candidates, what I do is I find out their motivations early on, whatever that is, what's important to them, and then I do my best to make sure that as we go through the process that I'm able to touch on all those motivations and what's important and give them the reason. So this way, when I'm telling them the story and they say, yeah, I don't know, I can say, well, when we spoke, these are the motivations that you provided me with. This role offers you X, Y, Z, etc., which is better than your current situation, and also gives you the growth potential that you mentioned was important to you in your next role. And here's the opportunity. It's an increased salary, basically just laid out. Like,
we understand where you're going with this, but what about this? In Tom's first conversation, even before sending someone out, you ask, what would be better than what you have now? Is that fair?
That's basically a different way of asking the same thing that I ask.
But if they haven't thought about it a lot, they might not come up with the categories to think of. You have to give them multiple choice.
The one thing that we did, this was back at the agency, and one standard question when someone had nothing bad to say about where they were, everything was positive. Then we would say, well, what if you were president for the day? If you could be president for the day at your company, what's something you would change? And they would always have an answer. No matter how wonderful they said something was, they could always think of what could be changed. And then that's where you started picking.
Give us an example.
Oh gosh, I'm reaching back years now that I've used it, but what would you change? So maybe it was flexible work hours. They get to work remotely, but it would be nice if they could actually have the flexible hours. So now I'm looking for companies, to send them that have not only remote, but flexible hours. You know what I'm saying? So it could be anything, but it's like they are happy. They like where they are, but there's always something that can make your life better.
Donna makes a very good point. It's, when you're making decent money and your boss is decent and you're relatively happy and no recruiters are calling you, you think you're fine. But when then I get you on the phone and we start talking, I want to do like more of like, just let you talk and then find out all of a sudden, well, hey, you can't work remote. There's no room for advancement. Your boss is 47, right? And he just started 2 years ago. He won't retire for 20 years. There's no chance for you to move up. There's a guy, I recruited a guy, a VP, told me he was happy where he's at. And I started talking to him and he was working for a company called STV in Orlando. And he was the director of electrical engineering. And he's telling me how they did all the electrical engineering for public supermarkets. And he loved his company. And I said, wait a second, what did you do before? He was in Chicago doing all these commercial buildings. I go, you went to school, get a master's degree in electrical engineering to sit around and do electrical design for grocery stores? And it was dead silence. Like he never thought about the fact that all he was doing was the same building over and over again. I stuck that knife in his side and started turning it about how my client does huge architectural projects. He'll be involved in commercial buildings and schools and churches and the newest things going on in Disney World. Why wouldn't he want to check it out? A month later, he was working there. And this is the guy told me, I am happy where I'm at. I love where I work. It's a great company. But it turned out his job was boring as hell. He was making 120, but still
telling me you're so happy. How did you get him to still talk with you at length?
That's what I do.
It's good conversation. It's building rapport.
Yeah.
It's people want to talk. Don't people want to talk to you?
No, they want to get rid of recruiters.
Like, you call the guy on the phone.
They want to get you off the phone. I'm happy where I am.
I'm a headhunter. I know you're busy. I'll be brief. I got blah, 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 blah. I'm happy where I'm at. I go, Steve, I get it. I didn't call you because you were unhappy, thought you weren't happy. If you weren't happy, you call me. The reason I called is because your background is a slam dunk. And, my opportunity is significantly better than the one that you're currently working on now. And he may laugh or whatever. And we start talking. It's a talk. Look, it doesn't work. I tell this to everybody. Look, my rebuttals don't work every single time.
Right.
What they do is if you do use them, they do work enough that you're going to make a lot more placements, right? Because you're going to get the people like him who were relatively happy, but because of the exploratory conversation, you uncovered that they were not happy, that they didn't have room for advancement, that they were bored.
Okay, Donna, before we go to you, I can't remember stuff if I don't blurt. Okay. What about, like I said, people, if they're not thinking about moving, they're not going to have at their fingertips necessarily a list of things that would be better for them. What if you come with a checklist and say, let me run through a few things. Tell me if this could be improved in any way.
You can do that with engineers. You can do that with engineers because engineers sometimes aren't. And again, I don't deal with engineers who aren't outgoing, right? I want engineers who are outgoing, but a non-outgoing engineer, you can say that to them. You can go, well, let me ask you a question. If you can improve things at your company, would you, improve your work-life balance? Yes. Would you improve your commute? Yes. Would you, you can do that, but it usually tends to be with a person who doesn't have that outgoing, talkative personality. So you have to kind of drag it out of them. Whereas, if you're talking to someone that has a personality like us and you're respectful and can ask the right questions, they will talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
People like to talk about themselves, right? I tell you all the time, people like to talk about themselves. So, hey, I saw you went to University of Illinois fighting Illini. Why'd you guys do this, that, and the other thing? You didn't make it in the bowl. And they start laughing, Dave. And then all of a sudden, like, or if I see that they played rugby, I'll bring it up. Or if I see that they like the Ravens, it's anything to just get them to understand that I'm a human and I'm not just trying to shove a position down their face. And then all of a sudden we're talking, right? I've gotten guys on the phone that like the guy that I just placed for a sales rep. He played rugby, and I said, "So, are you a hooker?" And he starts laughing, and he goes, "No, I'm back." I go, "Jesus, it's because of us you were able to score." And he starts laughing, and we're talking about rugby for 10 minutes before we even got into the job.
Donna, over to you. Was there something that you wanted to say 10 minutes ago?
I don't think there's anything additional. I think he's got it right. That's what you do. It's building rapport. It's being engaging. That's the job.
Okay.
That's what cold calling. That's
I got to drop off.
Happy
Okay,
New Year.
thank
See you, Dave.
David
That's
M.
why I
Marr,
love
thank you.
cold calling.
See you
I
soon.
love cold calling because it allows me to engage with the candidate or the client, or whoever it is, and get on a personal level, and then start. What's the thing? Nobody cares how much you know till they know how much you care. If you come into that, your pitch, and get into a conversation, all of a sudden their guard's down, and you can get going, get talk with them.
I was just having a conversation this morning that sales in general, it is not rocket science. It's not difficult in the sense of hard to know what to do, but to do it consistently, persistently, and just to get over yourself, that's what makes you successful. It's not difficult. You're not going to hear anything that's like, oh, I don't think I could do that. But it's uncomfortable for people. For a lot of people, it's uncomfortable to just jump in and be personable or start a conversation. But it's not difficult, but uncomfortable.
Rejection,
sometimes.
I think, is a big thing too. A lot of
yep.
people can't. They say they can, but after 20 times of being hung up on, they get really downtrodden. That's why I made a joke that guy who was bitching about the negative emails. I'm like, that guy be in the fetal position crying after a couple hours of phone call.
It's true. It's true. And that's what, I've got one of my sons, actually, both of them are thinking about going into recruiting. And that's one of the biggest things I've gone over with them. I'm like, you need to be ready to work. The work isn't hard, but you got to do it. Like, you have to do the work. You got to be ready, expect rejection, and be able to just dust yourself off and keep going, and then trust the process. You just have to trust it, because ultimately, if you put the time and you put the work in, you're going to be successful. But it's really easy to find all the reasons why you think you're not being successful, and then go post on Animals Group and Facebook and whine about it and get sympathy. But really, put in the work. Put in the work.
Now, Richie Rich said that at the end of last year. Tom backed him up. That he said, he claims what I do more than anybody else is I work harder. I work more. I don't think that's it. You just said two things that I think contradict each other. You said it's not hard, it's not rocket science, and then you said it might seem difficult to build rapport, to open conversations. Yeah, that is hard. Okay, when I hear you guys talking about it, and he's talking about rugby, which I know nothing about. What?
Hard's relative.
That's why I like the word uncomfortable. It might seem like it's difficult.
No, it's hard. Uncomfortable is I'm telling them about my operation or something.
Picking up the phone and dialing is not hard, right? It's not a hard. I've never worked a hard day in my life. Manual labor is the president of Mexico, right? I don't have any blisters, right? Like, this is not a hard job, right? But it can be difficult and uncomfortable to do. Right. And to get back to Rich for a second, Rich works longer hours, right? Does he work harder? He probably works smarter, and he probably works longer hours than I do. Right. But him and I don't work hard. We don't sweat. I've never broken a sweat. I haven't burned any calories.
Yeah, it's because it's natural for you. That's the point I'm making. It's natural. Okay.
Well, that's a good point. You need to be the right fit. So, like, my oldest son, not natural for him. Sales of any kind, not natural, but he will be an outstanding sourcer. He will be great at digging people up, at finding everything, at research. There are certain contacts that he would be great at. My youngest son, he's the one I want to have talking to people, anytime, all day long. Natural, easy. They're both gonna have to work hard in different ways. But
what you're saying is it is hard for your other son.
Yes.
Hard.
Yes.
And he's not gonna, you don't think he'll be successful.
Yes.
You don't think he'll be successful as a recruiter.
He would quit. He would not be successful because he would quit.
Yeah, there it is, everybody. First she said it's not hard. Now she's saying this guy it wouldn't fit. It's not a fit.
Listen. He was doing a business. Let me tell you this one thing. He was doing a business sales job, and he was doing very well. But he didn't feel like he was doing very well because he didn't understand and trust the process. He quit. He would quit doing the actual talk part because it's not in his nature. So yes, I will say, is it hard for someone if it's not at all in your nature skill set? Sure. But for someone, if this is who you are, this job is not hard, but you have to work hard at it or work at it. Put the time in. Trust the process.
Okay.
Yeah, my oldest daughter is a natural, absolute natural. Her biggest problem, she's lazy and she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, right? But she also wants to make money. So she gets on the phone and is amazing. Like I think she could be better than me. but she's not, she has a third of the work ethic my dumbass has, right? So, but she'll get on the phone and spend, I don't know, 2 hours and get 5 or 6 candidates and then not work for a week and make 2 deals. It drives me insane.
Your coach, she's working already for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, there
She's
used
got a
to
guy interviewing today for a $24,000 fee if he gets hired, which I think he is. He's pre-closed twice. And she made 4 calls on that job. 4 calls.
Okay. There used to be a show, I think it was Art Linkletter, and he got these people out of the audience or somewhere, and they had to call a stranger right out of the phone book and keep that person on the phone for 3 minutes. Have you guys seen those kind of game shows?
That'd be great.
Okay. It's not easy. Okay. Sometimes they did it, but if you're watching them, you're sitting on the edge of your seat, you know, because there's they were going to win a washing machine or I don't know, $1,000 or whatever. Okay. So we're in that same situation. That's why I asked Tom if, you know, they say, oh, like I'm happy where I am. Well, how do you keep the person on the phone to do a full investigation, you know, an inventory of their happiness?
Animal. I didn't call you because I thought you were unhappy. I called you because I offered opportunity in your backyard, significantly better than the one you have now, that could put more money in your pocket, reduce your commute time, and advance your career quicker than you thought possible. Isn't that at least worth a few minutes of time?
But here's the thing, you know, they always talk about introverts are going to be good recruiters. Or I'm an introvert, but I'm a good. He sees it when they say I'm happy where I am. Tom sees it as an invitation to talk. Right?
That is such a good point, though. I was just reading. Okay, I was reading somebody's sales plan training, and at the end, when it got to the closing, it actually said something to the effect of, you know, if they say they don't need anything, thank them for their time and tell them to contact you if a need arises. And I said, no. Be ready for them to say no. Be expecting for them to say no. Know what you're going to say when they say no. And then don't leave it up to them to call you back. You tell them when you're reaching back out to them. It's just, it's mind blowing. I don't know what you said that made me think about that, but
no, it's great because I say this all the time when I'm training people. When you call a candidate or a client, they're not going to say, I want pepperoni on my pizza. They're going to say, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm not looking.
I don't want
anyone. If you're a client, we're not hiring. We don't have any openings. Your fee's too high. So
they're
that's
say no.
Be prepared for what they're going to say, and what are you going to say back to them? It's that simple. That's why it's not hard, animal. It's
right.
It's simple.
It's preparation.
It's if you fail to prepare, you're prepared to fail.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay. Here's a question that I think this seems to be up Rich's alley. If you guys don't want to talk about it, I'll move on, but I'll put it to you. Okay. We're meeting, this person said, the recruiter says, we're meeting with a talent acquisition manager of a major company with a 15-person recruiting team. Wow. That's a lot of people. Okay. And, we're looking to assess if this partnership is worth our time. How do you determine? Yeah. How do you determine if the talent acquisition team is going to be a collaborative partner or a competitor? What are the questions you're going to ask to assess this situation?
I got examples of both. When we were in the agency, we had one excellent partnership where I made almost all my placements, but it was because the director of the HR department recruiting side trusted the owner of our company, was close with us, and most of their recruitment team was really more about onboarding and processing and not really doing the work of recruiting. I made a ton of placements there. We had other partnerships, and I think this is key. I think one of the keys is that he was really close with the head of HR, and she was ultimately running that show. In another company, we had the same situation, but his contact, the president's contact, was a hiring manager, someone who was very high up in the company, but they didn't run HR. And we were constantly competing. It was awful. I don't think our company, maybe as a company, we made one placement. I didn't make any. So I think you have to know that the person.
Well, that's the key question. Let me interrupt you.
Okay.
The question is, you've got 15 people working on your team. What are you bringing me in for? Okay.
Right.
Are you gonna?
You're gonna
that's
ask
the
that
question.
Yeah, they ask that question very respectfully. Like so. Donna, explain to me why you're looking to partner with us if you have a team of 15 in-house.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what is your process and what do you expect from us as recruiters? What do you expect us to do? when we do get a search from you, and what will that process be once we surface candidates? And then just don't say another word and let them talk and listen and see what that relationship's going to sound like and why they want you. If all they want you for is to funnel in resumes, run like your hair is on fire. But if they say like what Donna says, look, all of our team, all they do is onboarding. Nobody really here recruits. Any search that we give you, you'll be the only recruiter working on it. Plus, the hiring manager will be involved. Our HR team will make sure that you're scheduled with the hiring manager because he's busy, right? But he's going to be doing all the interviews, yada yada yada, right? Like, so it's a relationship.
Here's the other questions. Look, when I send you a resume, I expect to hear something back in 24 or 48 hours. Okay, and I'm going to write that in our fee agreement. Rich does that, right?
Yeah. Well, to me, it's if I send you someone, we're going to schedule an interview. Forget feedback. I've already pre-screened them. Like, hey, I got a guy for you. Can you talk to him Tuesday or Wednesday? Here's a data sheet. Here's a resume. There is no of this.
Tom, I can't guarantee that I'm going to operate on your schedule. I mean, I'm a busy man.
I'm sorry. You misunderstood me. If you find a recruiter that works your way, fine. Have a nice day.
That's just what you said, works your way. And that was always our agency thing, was people have to work our way. Yeah. So whenever we took on a new client, that was always a test. We never sent them, we didn't even would send them our very best at first. We'd send them maybe our Bs just to see, are they going to follow and do what we're going to say? If they worked our way, then all right, now we're happy, we're in business. If not, put them to the side. If something, serendipitously
review the resume. I pre-screened him. He's qualified on paper. He fits everything you're looking for. He's available to talk tomorrow at 4 or Wednesday at 5. Which one works better for you? End of story.
Okay, so that's really important if they're willing to get back with you, and also if they're willing to schedule interviews on time. That's crucial. Okay. Yep. And what time frame?
Hiring manager. You have to have contact with the hiring manager so you know what the hiring manager wants beyond the job description.
Okay, how much contact? Because if they've got a TA manager and a team of so many people.
A lot of times I was able to be successful without that if the person, like you were saying, in that TA position was really good. When they were really good, I knew the answers to all that. I made a lot of placements at those places. So
okay. Anything else we should cover there? I think that was pretty good. There's getting back to you in time, scheduling interviews, not drag. You have to find out some way they're not going to drag your feet. And I think it's important to be really blunt with them. Look, if I start working for you and you start dragging your feet, you can really, it's not going to work out. Okay. We want to get this done. Okay. Is it okay to tell someone, look, everybody says they need this person yesterday. Then once we start a search, it's never ending. We have no chance. We're losing people before you guys. Okay, that's the other thing. Not only schedule the interview, but are you going to be able to make a decision? How would you put that? I want to see more people. How would you handle that in advance?
Either he's hireable or he's not. There is no, let me see more people. Either he's good enough to hire today.
Cut him loose.
Or cut him loose. End of story. That's old school, like the hiring managers are playing you. Right? They're playing you, right? They're like, let me see some more people. Let me see some more people. No, it doesn't work that way, right? There's always going to be somebody better, right? Like, so either this guy's hireable for the position you have or he's not.
Really? Isn't that what, but like Ian, remember I quoted Ian before, don't pressure people to do things your way. But isn't that what you're doing? Say, look, if I send you somebody good, I'm not going to send you a whole slew of other people, and we're going to lose this guy while you're looking at a bunch of other people who might be better. Okay, so do you actually?
For one caveat, if it's a retained client, then that's different. I will keep.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Guys, I'm sorry. I got to go. I got to take my wife to the doctor's.
Okay.
Nice have a wonderful day, great year, all that wonderful stuff.
Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Okay. Take care.
Yep.
Donna, just you and me. Okay?
I know. I'll try to be more interesting.
We're almost. You've said a lot of things with passion today as well.
Oh, good,
I can't remember what was the one that you really. There was something that you.
I don't know. I get mad about, but go ahead. What next?
Okay, but no. I wanted to. I'm not finished this one. I wanted him to say. Well, I've never heard anybody put it the way he did just now. Tommy did. He said, "Look, if I send you somebody who checks all the boxes." You're ready to hire that person. you're not going to say to me, I want to see more people. How would you actually say that to somebody? I wanted to hear that from him. Would
Yeah,
you,
I don't know how he does it there. I know internally I have those conversations with the hiring managers about how this kind of what you said, the importance that you end up losing people, and we don't want to string people along. And it's also not good for the perception of the company because, you know, anyone who doesn't get the job, you know, they've already got one thing that they don't feel great about now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we want the candidate to have a good experience and a good candidate experience, even if they don't ultimately get hired. So yeah, I try to push them towards, and not, you know, just make a decision. Is this someone we want? If not, tell me fast, because I don't want to just keep them on the hook.
okay, but that's not exactly, I understand what you're saying.
It's not exactly the same.
But what he was saying was, if they check the boxes, they look good, this is
I'm
a
not sending
hire.
you home.
I got to get back to him next. I was just about to dig in on that, and he dodged us.
Yeah, because
Using
I'm
his
trying
wife
to,
as an excuse.
on the agency side, I mean, we would try to be careful how many we
Gewalt,
send.
he's here to answer that question.
Oh yeah?
Super rich. Yep.
Oh, there he is.
We're
All right,
gonna-
Rich, answer the question.
We're gonna screw you, Richie Rich, okay? Because
Welcome to
Tom
2024. What could be
Tom
different?
set us up to, and we wanted to get more details on it, and he disappeared. He says, "Oh, my wife wants me to drive her to the doctor." Okay, I can't answer that question now.
Who was
Okay,
checking
so
out? Who was checking
we're
out?
working on it. Okay, so first of all, Rich, I got to tell you, I did your ad for you, even though you're not here.
It was
And-
terrible. It was so bad.
Thanks.
Okay,
Al.
well, I'll cut it out. I'll do another version. Hi, everybody. Rich Rosen is running on the Forbes list to be the best recruiter in America. We already believe it, okay? So here's what you have to do. Go to bigbiller.ca. That's bigbiller.ca, because he's a big biller, okay? And that'll take you to the registration form. Just fill it out. They'll send you an email. Then you go back and you'll vote. Now, you vote for him on the basis of his company. It's a little complicated. CornerstoneSearch.com. CornerstoneSearch.com. Anything else, Rich? No, Rich, I got to tell you, let us down. Last year, he was in the top 10, okay?
I was 11 and then went to 14.
Yeah, okay, so that's not good for my brand. I like to say, you know, I got the top 10. I got the top 10 recruiter here, you know, on the show once or twice or 3 times a month, okay? So you should come, and it's never really brought us many bees to honey anyway. Okay, but here's the situation. And now I got to tell you, Rich, I introduced this question saying, here's one for Rich Rosen, okay? He wasn't here, but Tommy had some nice answers. He had a lot of clarity and power, okay?
Yeah.
I want to see how you answer this. We're meeting the talent acquisition manager of a major company. He's got a 15-person team, recruiting team, 15 recruiters, okay? We want to assess if this partnership is going to be worth our time. Rich is always saying, are they your partner, or are you, I don't know what your
vendor or partner?
Yeah, okay. I don't understand those terms. So anyway, so this guy says, how do you determine if that talent acquisition team is going to be a collaborative partner or a competitor? What are the key questions you ask to gauge this? I'll let you go, then I'll come back with Tommy's
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to be a collaborative partner, you're going to have, you're going to have equal feedback, you're going to have response, you're going to have access to their, greenhouse or whatever their internal system is. They're going to be prompt with information. They're going to let you still talk to the hiring managers. You're going to freely be able to share information back and forth. Hiring manager's going to tell me things they're not going to tell the internal recruiters, and obviously vice versa. And you want to be able to have a weekly cadence call with them. If not,
what does it mean? You want access to their
ATS.
Really? He never said that before. He never said that before, Donna. Did he ever say that?
I don't know, but it happened when we partnered with the big. That is normal.
Yeah, because otherwise, then I can see the feedback. I can see some clients, they give me full access to everything. I can see anything and everything. Other clients, it's like you can narrow it down, which is fine, as long as I can get feedback. And if you can't get me timely feedback, well, now I'm just a vendor.
Okay, well, I said that Rich puts it in his contract that if I send you a resume, you got to get back to me within 48 hours. Okay. Now,
if it's, hang on, people are calling. Hang on.
Now that he's going to get skewered, he's trying to dodge it as well.
Yeah.
All the big shots, the
Yeah.
extrovert recruiters. Okay, hold on. Okay, so how do you tell them? Listen, I have to get. What do you say? You have to get back to me within 48 hours, or I can't work with you. Do you put it that bluntly?
No, I don't put it. There's a essence to everything, way you do it. But I do say, I'd say if it's an engagement fee, say if they don't, it says in the contract, if I don't have feedback within 48 hours or 72 hours, wherever it's going to be, that, the agreement is considered, fulfilled. The engagement is considered fulfilled.
What does that mean?
It means that, listen, I can keep the money. I don't have to work on the search if I don't really want to.
Oh, okay. So they paid you something up front.
Yeah.
And so would you ever actually do that if they didn't get back to you in 48 hours, that you would keep their money and tell them to go
No, I mean,
jump in the lake?
It's like you do everything you have a contract for is a series of protections, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
basically, listen, if the guy, you're still going to work a deal. I mean, but if they're not getting back to you, how hard are you going to really work it?
Okay.
I'm not saying 48 hours is an end all be all, but
Donna, did you happen to see one of the postings I did during this
What was
past
it?
week?
Tell
Okay,
me.
one of them, I posted it in the Facebook group and I posted it on LinkedIn, and it was called "What Rich Rosen Taught Me in 2023." Right?
That
And
does
first,
sound familiar. Yeah.
at first I have him talking, then I said, "Look, this is what I learned. Everybody, talk to your clients like this. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay." And now he's not doing that. Okay. Oh, you don't want to put it that way. Like when I say, okay,
that's not what you said.
It's the start of a new year. It's a
No,
kind
when I
of
say,
rich.
you
By
say,
December,
okay,
he's
48
over it.
hours or I'm not working the search with you, okay? No.
Dude, I've got a company right now. I passed on their search in October. They had 2 openings because their contract was garbage. And they called me back in December, like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, fine, well, I'll do the search. You got 3 openings, but you got to redo the contract. I mean, I told them very bluntly, I'm like, you would fire your sales guys for signing this contract. If they ever did a similar agreement for selling your software, you would fire them on the spot. I'm like, I mean, is that blunt enough? I don't have to swear at people.
No fucking way. No fucking way. That's how Richie's supposed to talk. Okay. Oh, it's telling me reducing noise. Okay,
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, talk too loud. Okay, Rich. But this is where Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, Donna, but Tom's, what was I going to follow up with Tom?
It was a little bit further into it. It wasn't just getting back to you with the feedback. It was when they have a candidate and they wanted more candidates, and he was, go ahead.
No, he said, if I send you somebody and it meets all the parameters, like checks all the boxes, it's time to hire. Don't tell me to go and look for more people.
Would you hire or cut them loose?
Yeah, no, he didn't say hire. He says you hire or we're not working together. You said hire or cut them loose. You said,
but I think he agreed with it.
No. Well, wait till next week. I want to see what Rich says.
It means the same thing. But I mean, listen, you're going to get clients, especially.
No, it doesn't. It's when Donna's saying
you're hiring them or you're not hiring them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. That's a clear statement. But with Tom, was saying, yeah. With Tom, don't dither. Don't keep the candidate hanging around if you're not really interested. Tom said, if I take a checklist and my candidate meets all those checklists, you better hire him or we're not working together. That's what he said.
I did not take it that way, but go ahead.
Whoa! Luckily, this is recorded. Okay,
the Wolverine here likes to go a little. He likes to go a little direct.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what
Maybe
he said.
It is. I heard wrong, I'm sure.
He said, if this meets all the requirements, you hire that person. Okay? I'm not good.
You always have a choice to walk away from any deal if it's contingent, right? So if someone's really not going to hire, or like last year, I mean, tech was beaten up. And, there's tons of people. This guy's great, but he didn't do this wrong. Yeah, they just find things. So, there's no absolute. You always want absolute answers, like black or white. And there's
Tom gave a nice, good. I said he gave the good, strong, clear answers.
But I don't believe Tom walks away from a deal because someone didn't hire the guy that was perfect on paper.
Oh, yeah, he will.
And it was
I believe he will.
beyond that. Your question was beyond that, because in your scenario, they had already interviewed him and they liked him. And they're like, yeah, this person is good, but we want to make sure there's not somebody better. And that was the context of trying to have a comparison.
And he said, no, you'll always find somebody better. I'm not going out on any wild goose chase while we
Because
lose the guy we've got
Rich
now.
was just saying, Rich was giving examples where they find something wrong, but his example was they found nothing wrong. This guy is good, but we want to have others to compare. And that's where he was saying, nope. If this one's good enough, hire him.
Okay, so let's turn that. Donna, I want to challenge you on something before it shows over that you said, but let's turn this on Rich. When they say to you, they say to you, Richie Rich, oh, we like him. He's got 80% of what we want. And do you say, look, nobody's perfect. Okay, you hire this guy or I'm out of here. Okay, do you do that? Is that what you do?
No, but I want to understand why they don't like him. What don't like about him?
But you just suggested, Donna, didn't he imply that these were unreasonable demands? These guys were so picky. Okay, they want everything. They find one thing.
Somewhere in between those two things.
If you're going to sit there and force your client to hire your candidate, they're not going to be your client for too long. All right? I mean, it's very simple. You can cajole and push and try to understand. And then the hope in trying to get them to understand is when they say these things out loud, they realize how stupid they are. Oh. And they say, you know what, this guy's actually pretty good.
People don't realize how stupid they are. And the whole point is, Rich.
Either way, it's occasionally they do. And either way, you've already lost anyway. So you might as well try to get them on the side of the right side. They've already said no to the person, essentially.
Rich said something. He said, you're not going to have him as a client very long. The whole point is you don't want him as a client.
Exactly. You can't drop a client every time they say, we don't like your candidate.
No, but you're saying that they're finding things wrong. They're nitpicking. Get away here. I'm not working with you, you stupid idiot.
There's firing clients that are just a pain in the ass. There's slow rolling clients and just putting them on the back burner. Like Tableau was one of my best clients ever. All right. They're like 60 placements with them. All right. They were the biggest pain in the ass. They were so difficult. I made tons of great placements, tons of great friends out of those deals though. And honestly, they were super challenging, but you know what they were great for? Luring other candidates into the table to talk about maybe lesser opportunities where I then placed them in that. It's kind of a loss leader.
Okay, so you just said something that provides a good segue into what Donna said. But Rich, I already forgot what you said that made me.
You need lots of your clients. You need some of these clients that have a good story, and they're good to attract. They're honeypot, right? They attract the good candidates. And then
but you were saying that these guys were difficult. No, I know what you said. Okay, if the client is screwing around, you can put them on the back burner. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's bad for your brand unless you sever the relationship with them on this search.
Why?
You don't just, if they'll say, look, this guy took my job order, spent an hour talking about the job with me, and then he just screwed off and I didn't hear from him again. No, they're never going to say,
you're skipping a step. You forgot about the fact that I send candidates in. I'm not screwing off. They're screwing off.
Yeah, but when they tell people word of mouth what Rich is up to, they'll say, look, I never heard from the guy again. They're not going to say maybe it was due to us. Maybe we were stupid, like Rich said.
They're going to say he sent me candidates. They weren't the right ones. Either way.
Yeah, and then he disappeared. They're all the same, those stupid recruiters. And Rich, I can't believe, how are you starting the year by telling us that people are going to realize they're stupid? No, they're not. Okay, you're naive.
Listen,
grow up.
Listen, again, I said occasionally.
Donna's my witness. Okay?
Exactly. Did I not say? I said occasionally you get them to realize how dumb they are when they say things out loud.
No, let me take Donna.
Play back the tape, Animal. Play it back, baby. Come on.
No, let me get to. We don't have instant replay here yet. Okay.
Oh, God, you're lucky.
Let's talk to Donna for a second.
All right.
Donna said when she gets these new clients and they want to test them, they'll send out B-level candidates to see if they're serious. They're not going to waste their good people on this. But that's bad. That's bad. No, let me finish. That's bad for your brand.
I agree with you, Animal, for Christ's sake. That's how bad a year this has already been. Good Lord.
That's bad for your brand. You want to lead with your strength, and they'll say, Donna's fantastic. Okay, she's great. Look, she's sending me garbage. What do I want to work with her for?
For us, I'm going to say, first of all, B's were not garbage for us. So our rating system of B was not garbage.
They're mediocre.
They're at least they would get on our better. They're not
candidate, but somehow they're still fantastic.
When we would have a brand new client that we didn't really know anything about, we weren't sure they're going to work our way. we would always test the waters to see if they were going to work our way or not. And if they did, I mean, we could immediately follow with the A. We could do that, but we were careful. We were careful to see how they were going to work with us. That's what we did.
Okay. And Rich agreed with me. That's a bad move. Is that right?
Definitely. I feel a little nauseous myself.
Okay. Why is it a bad move, Rich? I want to get you on record supporting me.
Never.
I still think you need to understand the definition of B. I'm not talking C, D, or F. And so we're not giving them a loser. It's not like that. But I'm not going to take somebody. And again, in our little niche, you know, we're not doing the same volume. But someone who's going to be stellar, I don't want to get them excited about some company than to find out they're a not great company. You know,
but the client's the one that's paying you. You better send the client the A and let the A player down. Say, listen, I can't help it. These guys decide they already hired, or they're hiring their cousin or whatever.
Yeah, we just didn't do it that way.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
you know, but we did well. Either way, I mean,
Animal it might well work for you or Super Rich Rosen, but
it's what we
were
did, and
making
it was
plenty money. Trust me, we were
we
rolling in
did.
it. Okay.
I mean, we did well. So
No, we did well. Unless you got that head motion, yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's fine.
Are you have COVID again? Because your throat sounds a bit hoarse still. Is that you having
me?
trouble? Yeah.
I don't have COVID again. No.
Okay, I'm just checking on you. Okay, I'm a caring person.
Thank you. I'm in my new office. There's still sawdust around.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's it. You're breathing in the sawdust. Okay,
Breathing
do we have time for Richie? It's 1:00. Do you have time for one more question, or
Fire away.
No, I can end it now. We've been here for an hour. Okay.
Yeah, what do you got? I got one more.
Okay, maybe you saw this. This recruiter said she was doing a split with another recruiter, and the recruiter owes her $30,000. I think Rich commented $30,000. What kind of placement was that? Now her split partner says that she hasn't been paid. So the recruiter who's talking to us says, I haven't been paid, and I talked to the split partner, and she says the client hasn't paid her either, and it's 30 days overdue or something like that. But it's over. The money's due. Now, lots of people said your split partner is cheating you. She has been paid. She just doesn't want to pay you. Okay. Yeah. Does anybody have a take on this that they want to share?
I mean, listen, I'm going through a situation like that right now, where it's my client who hasn't paid me. It's even a worse story. It's actually a friend. But and the other recruiter, I don't know who the other, I know who wrote it. I know her. I don't know the other recruiter, but you got to say, listen, even if it's like, is this guy waiting to not really get paid, or are they waiting just for the warranty period to be up, is what you got to find out too. But either way, it's kind of BS. But if they agreed to get paid once the warranty's up, because then if the guy doesn't get the split, if the guy falls apart, then he's got to chase her for the money. Is kind of the problem.
Okay, but that's something they should have agreed on beforehand. What happens if the candidate falls off and you got the guarantee? You have to pay the money back or replace it. Yeah,
the recruiter should give the money back, but everyone's short term.
This happened to me. I was working splits with a guy, and the first time he had he delayed, and finally I got paid after 90 days or something like that.
Oh, the warranty. Go figure.
Okay. The second time, he said they didn't pay him. That was a real hard search. I found a great guy, and it was his clients. I was doing the search, and so he said they didn't pay him, and so I just let it go. I wasn't $30,000, right? And then he called me back like a year later to do another search with him. I said, "Why don't you pay me for the last one?" And so I called the company. Some people said that I called the company. First, I made sure my candidate was there. And then I called the boss and I said, we worked hard on this search. Why don't you pay us? And he got I knew he was paid probably. He got real mad at me. He said, I paid within 30 days. He said, you take it up with Alan, not me. Right.
Good for you then. Yeah, you just
I had to fight with the guy. Okay. So it happens that your split partner will cheat you. Okay. Donna, over to you. What would you do?
I've never done split partner stuff. So I just listen to what you guys said. I've never done it.
Okay, that's a tough situation.
Yeah.
It does, but that's what gives recruiters bad names. There's a lot of scumbags. But I think if I would do the same thing, and I would you can have a lawyer go after him, the other recruiter, and I would totally call the company. I mean, I may not jump the gun before 30 days. I mean, I forget how long it was in her situation, but day 31, I'd be like, what the F's going on if you got no
Really?
feedback, nothing.
Okay. Well,
Only
but what
because-
about? Let me just ask. How would you put it in the? Do you have a formal contract signed between you and your split partner?
Nope.
No. Or do you have an agreement then about the guarantee? What if the candidate falls off within the 90-day period? Do they everybody know what to expect?
I mean, I know I'm not screwing anyone, and the people I do splits with, I have faith in.
Okay,
Right.
but if you've paid your split partner her share, her 30,000 or 15 or $10,000, whatever the amount, and your candidate disappears or her candidate takes another job, what do you say to her? Look, we got to find somebody. You got to give me that money back, or what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect. I mean, you know, but the first time we talk about it, it's discussed that, hey, listen, if someone falls apart, we get the money back or whatever. You know, I'll let them try to replace the person, but you know, I expect that money returned.
Okay, well, that could be a problem, can't it?
It can, but you got, you know, verbal contract, which is what it is in Massachusetts. But you got precedent, and you know.
Wow, I'm shocked that Rich takes a verbal agreement.
Well, at the end of the day, listen, most people, I mean, good or bad, most people aren't going to sue for 30 grand. It's not worth it. You know.
I was always under the impression that you would sue. You're always telling somebody. In fact, this is
I
what
would.
you said. Know the laws in your state.
Again,
You told the guy. Now I remember. Know the laws in your
most
state.
People wouldn't. I just sued a client for 37 grand, you know, because, you know, what her principle? She was a douchebag. You know, she cheated people. She lied to people. She fired people after, like, you know, I found out she fired 3 guys because after I did my deals with her, fired 3 different guys because they got cancer, fired my guy because his mother died, you know, and I'm like, fuck her. So I sued her just to drag her through hell, you know.
Wow.
We ended up,
you
you know,
want me to cut that out of the show? You want me to cut that out of the show? Because I will if you want to. It makes you look like a real tough guy. Okay, everybody. Now we're going to go. I wish you all a happy 2024. I thank you for showing up today. Anything final, Donna? Final remarks? Nothing?
I think it's not fair that Rich didn't have to answer your first question.
Which was
one
what?
was that? Oh, the hickey question?
That's how we started the show. We started the show.
I'm not sure if I'm sorry I missed that or not.
I'll save that for
I got a
next week.
17-year-old son. I've seen enough of these stupid hickeys.
Okay. Well, my point was that she agreed with you. My point is you can be older than 17 and get a hickey, okay? And then have to go to an interview the next day. That's the issue.
I thought
okay?
apparently Animal had a good New Year's Eve. I thought we were getting.
Goodbye, everybody. See you later.
Yeah, guys. See you, Animal.